$4,320. That's what somebody paid toward a $4,500 couch. 2 years of payments, right on schedule. At the end, they were $180 short. That $180 cost them $1,439.55. Hey, I'm Marcus, and that's not my math. That's the government's own example. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau published it in December of 2024 in a report about store credit cards. They wrote the number down themselves to show people what this thing does. Store sign said 0%, 12 months, sometimes 18, sometimes 2 years. Big friendly letters. And underneath, in the small ones, 4 words that quietly turn the whole offer inside out. If paid in full. Those 4 words aren't decoration. 0% and no interest if paid in full are 2 different products. Federal law defines them in 2 separate paragraphs. One of them has a trapdoor. And it's not like they hid it. By law, they have to warn you. That date sits on the front of every statement they send. It arrives 12 times. People still fall through. That isn't carelessness, it's design. If having this explained straight before somebody hands you a pen is worth something to you, subscribing is just how you catch the next one. Walk into any house where somebody just bought a couch on a store card and somewhere on the kitchen counter there's a statement nobody opened. Maybe it's under the coupons. Maybe it's in the pile by the microwave with the school forms and the reminder from the dentist. It comes every month, it looks the same every month, and after a while your eye just slides right off it. On the front page of that statement, there's a date. Federal law puts it there on purpose. There's a rule in the credit card regulations, the big one that spells out what a credit card company has to tell you, and it says that if you're on one of these 0% deals, the deadline has to be printed on the front of the page, not buried on page 3, not in the fold, the front. So it shows up 12 times if it's a 12-month offer, 24 times if it's 2 years, and people still get wrecked by it. Which is the part I keep circling back to, because if you'd handed me this story cold, they hid it in the fine print, I'd have nodded along and moved on. That's the version we all expect. Sneaky bank, tiny letters, gotcha. That's not what this is. So let me back up, because there are actually 2 different offers walking around wearing the same costume, and they are not the same animal. One of them is a real 0%. You buy the thing, no interest runs during the promo, and when the promo ends, they start charging interest on whatever's left, going forward, like a normal card. $200 left on the balance, they charge you interest on $200. Fair enough. The other one is called deferred interest, and under that one, the interest never stopped. It's been running the entire time in a column you don't see, quietly stacking up in the background. What the bank has done is promised to waive it if you pay the whole balance off by that date on the front of the statement. Miss it by $1 and the waiver evaporates. All of it comes back. Not on the $200 you still owe, on the whole original purchase, every dollar of it, going all the way back to the day you carried it out of the store. The regulation actually uses that word, waived or refunded, which tells you exactly what it always was. The interest was never 0. It was a hold, a favor with conditions on it. You were on probation, and nobody told you that you were on probation. And here's the part that broke my brain a little bit. They do tell you. There's a rule that says if an ad says no interest, the words if paid in full have to sit right there next to it, close, clear, in the same breath. It's required. So when people go back afterward and dig the folder out of the drawer, and they always do, that's the very first thing they do, they find it. It's right there. Sometimes it's in bold, and they feel like idiots. But they shouldn't, because reading it was never going to save them. Every money video you've ever watched gives you the same advice. Read the fine print. And for this specific product, I think that advice is close to worthless. Not wrong exactly, just useless. Because the people who got hit did read it. They read no interest if paid in full 12 months. They understood every single word in that sentence, and they walked out to the parking lot believing they had a 12-month interest-free loan. They didn't misread it. They read it correctly and still ended up with the wrong picture in their head. That's not a reading problem. That's what the sentence is engineered to do. Now, about half of all store card applications in this country get filled out in person, standing at the register. That's from the government's own report on retail credit cards published in December of 2024. Half. Not at your kitchen table on a Sunday with a coffee, at the counter with a line building behind you, a cashier who's got a number to hit, and a card reader blinking. 60 seconds, 90 if the person behind you's patient, that's the window window you get to understand a credit product that the Federal Consumer Agency, whose entire job is this stuff, has been sending warning letters to banks about since 2014. And what's actually sitting underneath the offer once the offer runs out, in December of 2024, the store cards at America's biggest retailers were carrying an average interest rate of 32.66%. Not about 30, not in the 30s, 32.66. 90% of store cards have a top rate above 30%. 19% of them go past 35. And I had to sit with that one for a second, because that's right up against the legal ceiling for what lenders are allowed to charge active duty military. There's a federal law that caps it precisely because 36% money is considered dangerous enough to hurt national security. Roughly 1 in 5 store cards is parked right there at the fence. $637. That's the average purchase people put on one of these no-interest promos. A washer, a laptop for a kid going off to school, a crown because the tooth cracked on a Tuesday and it wasn't optional. Not a yacht, a thing you needed and couldn't cover that month. 4 banks issue more than 80% of the store cards in America. Synchrony, Citi, Capital One, Bread Financial. Whatever name is printed on the front, the department store, the furniture chain, the hardware place, the vet's office, behind it, it's almost always one of those 4. The store's logo is a costume. The bank is the body. So how does a deadline that gets printed 12 times still catch about 1 in 5 of these promotions? Because that's the number. The government's own figure. Roughly a fifth of these deals end with the retroactive interest. And the answer is the thing that stopped me cold when I finally worked through it. The retroactive interest isn't the trap. It's the first one. There's 3 more stacked underneath it. And honestly, they're worse because they're the ones that catch the people who are trying. The ones who set up autopay. The ones who paid every month on time, never missed a single one. The ones who did exactly what the statement in front of them told you to do. The second trap is the number the bank prints on your bill every month, and it is not the number you think it is. Look at the statement. Bottom right, usually, minimum payment due. Everything about that box says this is the number. It's what autopay grabs. It's what the app fills in for you. It's the amount that keeps you in good standing, keeps you off the late list, keeps the phone from ringing. For your entire adult life on every credit card you've ever held, paying that number has meant you're fine. On a deferred interest promo, that number is not the number that saves you. And I want to be careful here because this is the part where somebody usually says, well, that's illegal. They have to tell you what to pay, and no, they don't. I went looking. There is no federal rule anywhere that says the minimum has to be big enough to clear the balance before the promo runs out. It doesn't exist. The regulations govern what they have to disclose. They don't govern what the minimum has to accomplish. In fact, and this one genuinely made me stop and read it twice, the rules have a section where the card company estimates how long it takes you to pay off your balance making minimum payments. Useful, right? There's an instruction in there telling the bank to leave deferred interest plans out of that calculation. So the one place on the statement where they'd have to do the math for you, carved out. On purpose. The math you actually need isn't complicated. It's division. What you spent divided by how many months you've got. $2,400 couch, 12-month promo. $200 a month. That's it. That's the whole formula. Now hold that against the minimum. On a store card, that minimum often bottoms out somewhere around $40 a month. So same couch, same store, same card. 2 people walk out with it on the same afternoon. One of them does the division and sets up $200. The other one sets up the minimum $40 because that's what the app suggested, because that's what she's always done, because she's got a car payment and a kid in braces and the app said $40 and $40 is what she can breathe with. 12 months later, the first person owns a couch, paid $2,400 for a $2,400 couch. The deal worked exactly like it said on the sign. The second person has paid $480 on time every month, never late, not once, not by a day. She still owes $1,920 on the couch, and now the waiver's gone, so the interest that's been quietly running the whole time comes back at 32%, and it lands as a lump of about $685. She's paid $480 toward a $2,400 couch, and she now owes about $2,600. More than she started with, after a year of paying. Same couch, same store, same afternoon. The only difference between those two people is that one of them did fourth grade division and the other one trusted the box on the bill. And you don't even have to be that far off to hurt. That's what really gets me. Somebody who's close, who knows there's a deadline, who's genuinely trying, pays $190 a month instead of $200. $10 off. 10. 12 months later, he's put in $2,280, and he owes $120. The retroactive charge on that $120 is about $373. He was $10 a month short, and the bill for being $10 a month short is triple what he was actually short. That's trap number 2. Number 3 is where I'll be honest with you. I read the rule, put it down, went and made coffee, came back, and read it again, because it didn't sound legal. It sounded like something I'd misunderstood. The rule is about where your extra money goes. Say you're carrying that couch on the promo, and there's also a regular balance on the same card. $60 of paint, whatever. 2 balances, 1 card. You send extra money. You've got a good month. You send an extra $200 to knock down the couch. Federal law tells the bank where to put it, and it does not say put it where the customer wants. It says put it at the highest interest rate balance first. Your promo balance is sitting at 0% right now, today, on paper, so it's the lowest rate on the account, which means the extra money you're sending specifically to beat this deadline gets legally routed to the other balance, away from the thing you're racing. There's a protection, and I don't want to pretend it isn't. In the last 2 billing cycles before the deal expires, the final 2 months, the law flips and your extra payments have to go to the promo balance first. 2 months. Out of 12, for the other 10, the money runs the wrong way. Now, you can call and ask them to apply it where you want, and the regulation does allow them to honor that. Allow. The word in the rule is may, not must. Some issuers will. Some will tell you to call every single time you make a payment. That's an actual complaint people have filed with the government. And number 4 is so quiet that most people never even connect it to the card. You buy the mattress on the promo. 2 weeks later, you're back at the same store for sheets. $90, you put it on the same card. Why not? You're not paying interest on this thing. You are now, because you're carrying a balance. You've lost your grace period. That's the little mercy on a normal credit card where new purchases don't start racking up interest right away. Carry a balance and it's gone. So the sheets start earning that bank 32% from the day you swipe. The federal agency actually warned the card companies about exactly this back in 2014. Told them their marketing had to make it clear that if you take a promo offer and carry it, new purchases start costing you immediately. So there it is, 4 traps. The interest that never actually stopped, the minimum payment that's built to fail you, the extra money that flows away from the very balance you're chasing, and the grace period you lost without a word. But there's one more thing sitting under all 4 of them, and it's the one that explains the title of this video. Because you might be thinking, okay, but when the deadline gets close, they'll warn me, right? Card companies have to give you 45 days notice before they raise your rate. Everybody knows that. That's the law. It is the law, and it does not apply here because they already told you. That's the whole answer. That's it. There's an exception written into the rules, and it says if you disclose the length of the promo and the rate that kicks in afterward, before the promotional period started, you don't have to send another notice when it ends. You said it once, at the beginning, on page whatever in the agreement that came with the card, in the sentence that had "if paid in full" sitting in it. You were warned once before you owned the couch. The 45-day letter that Americans believe is standing between them and a rate hike, it already fired. It fired in the parking lot, in the 60 seconds at the register, in the box you ticked on a screen while a cashier waited. So when the clock runs out, nothing happens. No letter, no call, no red banner in the app. The date on the front of the statement just passes, and the following month, the interest arrives. So what do people actually do about this? Before you sign, and honestly, this is a 30-second job standing right there, people look for the phrase, not the big number, the little one, if paid in full. If those words are in the offer, it's not 0%, it's deferred interest, and it has the trapdoor. If it just says 0% APR with no if paid in full anywhere, it might be the real thing, the clean version. Asking which one it is out loud at the counter is a completely normal question, and any employee who can't answer it has just told you something useful. The friction, the cashier often doesn't know. That's not me being cute. The government found in the Care Credit case back in 2013 that the medical offices selling these cards were sometimes confused about them themselves. The staff, the people whose job it was to explain it. They admitted it to federal investigators. Then people do the division. Purchase divided by months, and they set autopay to that number, not the minimum, not what the app suggests, and they finish a month early because a payment posting one day late at the end is the entire ballgame. They don't put another dollar on that card, not sheets, not paint, not a coffee, nothing. And they write the deadline in their phone the first time it shows up on that statement. If it's already happened to you, if the interest already landed, people call and ask for a waiver. And I have to be straight with you. There is no legal right to that. None. It's a favor. The regulation actually acknowledges that some banks quietly keep informal grace windows past the deadline. So it happens. Ask anyway. Ask kindly, ask twice, ask in writing, and pay the balance to zero the same day so there's nothing left to argue about. The obstacle there is that you'll get someone reading from a screen who says no in the first 11 seconds. That's usually not the final answer, that's the first answer. Now, where I part company with the internet, I keep seeing people told to look for the class action lawsuit, getting on the settlement. Almost certainly not. These agreements are packed with arbitration clauses, the fine print where you gave up the right to sue as a group. There was a class action filed against one of the big medical cards in 2024. Earlier this year, a federal judge pushed the whole thing into individual arbitration. One person, one room, no group. So don't sit around waiting to be rescued by a lawsuit. That's not the door. The doors that are actually open, a complaint to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, free, online, and companies generally answer within about 15 days. It is not a court, it won't force anyone to hand you money, but it creates a record with a regulator, and companies behave differently when there's a file. And your state attorney general, because the interest rate isn't the angle. That's federal, and there's a Supreme Court case from 1978 that's the reason your state's limit on interest rates doesn't reach this card at all. The bank charges its home state's rate and exports it to you. Your state's cap is real, and it does not touch them. But how it was sold to you, that's state territory. California went after this. Since July of 2020, a dentist or a doctor there can't be the one signing you up for a deferred interest card in the office. You have to apply yourself, directly with the lender, not the front desk. And the way California wrote it, they left the honest version legal, a plan where interest only starts on what's still unpaid, and killed the retroactive one. That law only covers medical folks, not the furniture store, and it's one state. And I'd rather tell you that plainly than pretend you've got protection you don't have. If the number on this thing is big, if it's thousands, if collectors are calling, if it's tangled up with a medical bill, that's the point where a video stops being enough and you want a real person who knows your state. Free legal aid exists, nonprofit credit counseling exists, and the Justice Department publishes its own vetted list, which matters because the second you're in trouble, the debt relief vultures find you. Something I keep coming back to, the government's own look at this in 2015 found that in total, people using these deals don't pay more than they'd have paid on a normal card. On average, it evens out because the 80% who make it get the free money, and the 20% who don't, disproportionately the ones with the thinnest margins, the ones who took the deal because they had no other way to buy the thing, pay for it all. That's not a bug in the product. Read it again. That is the product. The couch is cheap for you because it was expensive for her. If having this laid out straight before somebody slides a pan across a counter is worth something, subscribing's how the next one finds you. Go look at the pile on the counter, the one with the coupons and the school forms and the thing from the dentist. Somewhere in there is a statement you haven't opened, and on the front of it, in a little box, there's a date. That date is not a suggestion. Open it tonight.